By the way, sorry to interrupt this, but breaking news just happened. Calvin Ridley signed with the Titans. I
What?
did not see that coming.
Wow.
Yeah, 4-year, $92 million with the Titans.
Wowzer.
So he's not going back to the Jags. He's not going to the Patriots. Sorry to interrupt, but I just saw that come across my phone. So that's an interesting one.
That is absolutely incredible. I'm so glad, like literally live on air. I mean, of course, this is going to air tomorrow, I guess, as a pod, whatever. So
Right.
people will be like, yeah, we already knew that, motherfucker. But actually, that's really cool. So Calvin Ridley to the Titans. Boy, oh boy. First reaction is like, meh? Do you feel the same?
My first reaction is for him, it's not great in terms
Right.
of like potential upside because you'd rather have Trevor Lawrence obviously throwing him passes than Will Levis or whoever ends up being because they just signed Mason Rudolph as well. So it seems like there's some, that's a backup plan just in case Will Levis continues to struggle or whatever. I thought he flashed a little bit at times, but of course, anytime you have a young, still developing quarterback in an offense that's probably going to be pretty run heavy, like the receivers are not going to be great. Plus, you got DeAndre Hopkins there. This is probably not great for Treylon Burks, although him being a number 3 is probably what's best for him in the short term to kind of develop and get his confidence back because I think he kind of lost that. But I don't know. To be honest, like I wasn't super high on Calvin Ridley anyway. So it's not like a huge disappointment to see him go there, but I don't think this helps his upside if that's, if you have him in Dynasty or if you're looking to draft him and redraft this year. I don't think he's necessarily got a ton of upside, especially opposite DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Is DeAndre Hopkins kind of locked in there, or is there any sort of movement?
I mean, that's a good question. That's a good question. Maybe this means they move away from Hopkins. It sounded like for most of the offseason that they really see him as a part of their plan. Honestly, like if I'm the Titans, this is the exact way I'd be building is getting Levis, veteran, well-established playmaking receivers that can like take some of the load off him, take a lot of the load off him. It's essentially what we see the 49ers doing, right?
Yeah.
And so, we're going to talk about the other things that they did in free agency, namely Tony Pollard, but like loading up on stars and guys that can create on their own and really help Levis is exactly what I would be doing if I was Titans. So from a football point of view, love this move. And assuming that they keep DeAndre Hopkins, but it is kind of make everything diluted in fantasy.
For sure. I mean, Chig, Burks, Ridley, Hopkins, Pollard, Spears, in an offense that doesn't necessarily project to be top 10 or 15. Yeah, color me skeptical on all those weapons, right?
Right. I mean, it's a downgrade for everybody. Yeah. It just means like this is already an offense that we weren't expecting to score a lot of points.
Right.
And now we have even more platooning at pretty much every position. Obviously, the running back I think is going to be a big platoon, and then we got more or less of a focus on one receiver. Now it's going to be I think all 3 of these guys plus maybe Chig. I'm not going to be super in on Chig this year either, but this is a fantasy downgrade for everybody unless you have Will Levis, which I think it's a big upgrade for Levis.
Yeah, I think it helps Will Levis. I mean, unless they go out and draft a quarterback Drake May or something.
That could happen.
Like, it's just chaos season all the way around. But yeah, they have had their sights on offensive line. This move in the draft, this move sort of signifies that they're not going to be drafting a Dunze or Neighbors if they fall there. It would appear, yes.
I mean, again, probably not unless they trade Hopkins, which I suppose is still on the table. But no, this means I would guess probably they'd be looking at the trenches. Yes. And I think that's a smart way of doing it. And again, this goes back to like what's the absolute best way to develop a quarterback, which is by far the most important position on your roster.
Right.
And for keeping your job if you're a GM or a coach is to develop your quarterback. And man, they really loaded up on some offensive weapons here. And I'd love to see them go get like Joe Alt, Olufashanu, who's one of these top tackles, and pair him with Skoronski and give Levis every chance he can to succeed, because that's essentially like the best way to succeed as a GM or a coach.
Yeah, exactly. If Levis is any good, then let's find out.